Hi everyone, Marie here from Beyond Opinions. Today's video is the third weekly wrap-up from March. The first one I finished this week was Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, and I was a little disappointed about this one considering all the hype. I read this one for the BookTube SFF Awards and I didn't really care for it. Towards the end, I think I started getting into it, but I mean, that was already way past the middle part. It's just like Harry Potter, except for different. And I'm not sure if that's what it was supposed to be. I found myself comparing a lot of Harry Potter to it, and it just wasn't for me. Next I read Descenders Volume 1. This was also a BookTube SFF Award. This graphic novel is about a young robot boy and his companions, and they're running away from bounty hunters because they are being outlawed, or because they're outlawed on their planet or something. I found this a bit confusing. I didn't really care for the graphics, and I found the storyline itself didn't hold me. So I didn't really enjoy it at all. It's not going to be a graphic novel that I can continue reading. The third thing I read this week was A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This book is about, it's very difficult to describe. There is 4 Londons, I think. Grey London, Red London, Black London, White London. And we follow the character Cal, where he has the ability to go between these Londons. Something happens throughout his travels where he ends up fleeing into Grey London and ends up meeting a girl that he spends the rest of his travels through trying to fix whatever he's fleeing from. This book wasn't for me. I didn't get attached to the characters at all. I just basically read through it. I did find spots where it was confusing and I had to backtrack to figure out what was going on. It just was very flat, and I know it was a very popular book. It was also a book for the BookTube SFF Awards. I'm not having very good luck with the books from the SFF Awards. So yeah, it wasn't my favorite, and I probably will not be continuing on with that series either. But then things pick up, and I finally finished Winter by Marissa Myers. And this was the final book in the Lunar Chronicles series. I really enjoyed this book. I absolutely loved it. My only flaw with it is that I really wish that I could have known more about Winter. I found it was very light there. But other than that, it was a wonderful book. It tugged at my emotions. It's a real page turner. I know it took me a while to read it, but that's because I ended up starting to read other books. But once I really sat down to read this one, I was done it in a couple of days. I highly recommend this series for everybody. If you don't even think it's a series for you, I would still recommend this one. I don't want to say too much about this book because this is the final one. This is a fairy tale retelling, and this one here is for Winter, is for Snow White. The series starts with Cinder, and we follow Cinder throughout all 4 books. So any characters that we do pick up in the very first book, they're throughout all of them, which was great because it gives you time to really enjoy these characters and build on them, and they develop into these wonderful characters that you can't stop thinking about. Next I read Naruto? I think that's how you pronounce it. Naruto is a ninja in training, and he has a need for attention. He gets himself into all these shenanigans and pisses a lot of people off. When I first started reading this, I'm thinking, yeah, this wasn't for me. But as I continued on through it, I actually really started to enjoy it. Naruto plans on being like one of the famous, biggest ninjas in the valley. He pretty much will do anything to get there. It's funny, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. Next, I read A Tokyo Ghoul, which is also a manga, and I really enjoyed this one. This is about a young boy who is very excited to go on a date with a girl that he's been admiring in a coffee shop, and it turns out that that girl is a ghoul. She ends up wanting to eat him, and there is a questionable transformation. He turns into a half human, half ghoul. So, and none of that was spoilers because you can read that in a synopsis. It's interesting to follow his life. I read mixed reviews on this one, but I really enjoyed it. I thought there was funny pieces to it, but I mean, I finished this in one setting. I finished most of the mangas in one setting, unless they're boring, and so far I haven't come across one. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where this one goes. And lastly, I read The Wicked and the Divine, Volume 1. This is about a group of gods, and every 20 years they are incarnated into humans. And then 2 years later, they die. I didn't really like this one. The graphics were beautiful. I absolutely loved the graphics. The story was very confusing. I didn't know what was going on half of the time, and I don't know. I read this one because Volume 2 has been shortlisted for the BookTube SFF Awards, so I will read the second one. I've already started to read the second one, but it doesn't look promising to me as a less confusing storyline. I guess we'll see. If it doesn't pick up in the second one, I won't be continuing that series either. So I had a good reading week, but maybe not so much a good reading week. I'm hoping that it will pick up this week. This week I'm reading The Wicked and Divine Volume 2, Uprooted by Naomi Novik, and I'm really starting to I enjoy that one. I'm not that far into it, but it does seem promising right now. I'm also reading Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I'm not sure that I'm overly liking this book. I'm not hating it yet either, so I'm hoping that it picks up for me later on and it turns out to be a better read. And I'm also reading Marissa Meyer, Stars Above, so I'm pretty sure that one's going to turn out to be a good read. Did you like any of these books? Was there any that you didn't like? What are you reading this week? Have a wonderful day. Bye.